The night was thick with smoke and the distant echo of engines as Ryder, a grizzled Hell's Angel with years carved into his face, leaned against his Harley. The moonlight silvered the road, casting shadows over the abandoned gas station where the crew had stopped after a long, bloody confrontation with a rival gang. His knuckles still stung, his leather vest was torn, and his thoughts were restless. He'd seen violence before, but tonight's raid had left something unsettled inside him. The others laughed loudly, cracking open beers and replaying the chaos of the night, but Ryder kept his eyes fixed on the dark treeline across the cracked asphalt. There was a sound, barely audible at first. A whimper. He thought it might have been an injured dog, but as he stepped closer, pushing aside the rusted metal door of the station's back lot, he froze. There, curled up in a pile of cardboard boxes, was a little girl. No more than 6 years old. Her cheeks were streaked with dirt, her small hands trembling as she clutched a ragged teddy bear that had long lost its stuffing. Her eyes met his, huge, frightened, yet somehow pleading. Ryder's stomach tightened. He was a man who had ridden through shootouts, buried brothers, and bled on highways, but nothing had ever cut through him like the sight of that child. Hey, kid, he muttered, his voice rough, unsure if he was even doing the right thing. What are you doing out here? The girl didn't answer, just shrank back, as though afraid of the leather, the patches, the scent of smoke and gasoline clinging to him. Ryder crouched, pulling off his gloves slowly so she could see his hands weren't holding a weapon. He glanced back at the crew, no one had noticed him slip away. Don't worry, I ain't gonna hurt you, he said softly, surprising even himself with the gentleness of his tone. You alone, her lips trembled, and finally she whispered, they left me. The words struck him harder than any fist ever had. He scanned the lot again, half expecting to see parents stumble out, but there was no one, just silence, wind, and the faint buzz of a flickering neon sign. Ryder felt a war inside him. The club lived by rules, family first, outsiders never. Bringing a kid into their world was unthinkable. But leaving her here in the cold, that was something he couldn't stomach. Not after the life he'd lived. Not after the blood he'd spilled. He reached out slowly, offering his hand. Come on, you can't stay here. For a moment, she hesitated, staring at his rough palm, the tattoos curling over his knuckles. Then, with a trembling breath, she placed her tiny hand in his. The contact jolted something inside Ryder he thought had long died, something human, something protective. As he led her back toward the bikes, he knew this choice would change everything. He was an outlaw, a brother of the road, but tonight he'd found something he hadn't expected, a reason to fight beyond the club. And he wasn't about to let the world take her too. The roar of the bikes filled the night as Ryder pulled into the compound, the little girl pressed against his chest beneath his leather cut. She had fallen asleep somewhere along the ride, exhaustion overtaking her fear. Her tiny hand clutched the edge of his vest as if letting go would mean being lost forever. The gate opened, chains rattling, and the familiar smell of oil, smoke, and leather greeted him. The clubhouse was alive with music and laughter. Brothers celebrated the night's chaos, bottles clinking, women draped across laps. To them, it was just another victory. But to Ryder, everything felt different now. He parked his Harley, careful not to wake the child. For a moment, he considered leaving her hidden in the shadows and figuring out what to do in the morning. But when her head shifted, resting against his shoulder with a soft sigh, he knew there was no turning back. Ryder, a voice barked across the lot. It was Tank, the sergeant at arms, a brute of a man with a shaved head and a scar across his cheek. Where the hell you been? Ryder adjusted the girl in his arms and stepped forward. The noise in the yard died down as eyes turned to him, and then to the child. Whispers spread like wildfire. Tank frowned. What is this? A kid, Ryder said simply, his tone steady though his heart pounded. No shit, brother, another biker jeered, staggering with a beer in hand. What's she doing here? That your secret love child or something? Laughter rippled, but it was uneasy, curious. Everyone waited for Ryder's answer. She was left behind, Ryder growled, his voice sharper now. Back at the gas station. Alone, hungry, scared, his eyes swept the crowd, daring anyone to challenge him. I wasn't about to leave her there. The president, a gray-bearded man called Reaper, stepped out of the clubhouse, silence following him like a shadow. His gaze fell on Ryder, then on the girl nestled against him. Reaper's voice was calm but firm. You know the rules. We don't bring outsiders in. Especially not kids. Ryder's jaw tightened. She's got no one, Reaper. You'd have me dump her in the street. Let her rot. The girl stirred, blinking awake at the sound of raised voices. Her wide eyes darted from face to face, fear returning like a storm. Ryder instinctively shifted, shielding her from their stares. The move didn't go unnoticed. For a long moment, Reaper said nothing. The tension was thick, the kind that usually ended in fists or worse. Finally, he exhaled, rubbing his temple. You're playing with fire, brother. The world we live in, this ain't for her. I know, Ryder admitted, his voice low but steady. But I'll take the fire if I have to. I ain't letting her go. The silence broke with murmurs. Some shook their heads, others smirked, but not a single man dared step forward to take the child from Ryder's arms. Reaper studied him, eyes narrowing, before turning back toward the clubhouse. You wanna take this burden, it's on you. But don't expect the club to carry it. Ryder didn't flinch, he didn't care. As the little girl clung tighter to him, he realized something. For the first time in years, he had something worth protecting with his life, something innocent in a world of sinners. And no matter the cost, he wasn't letting anyone take her away. The days that followed were unlike anything Ryder had ever known. Life inside the compound was rough, beer, smoke, engines, and the constant buzz of danger, but now there was also the sound of a child's laughter echoing faintly in the background. He gave her a small cot in his room, bought her clean clothes from a store 2 towns over, and even found her a pair of pink sneakers that lit up when she walked. At first, the brothers scoffed. They joked about the babysitter biker, claiming Ryder had gone soft. But slowly, they noticed how the girl changed the atmosphere. She was shy, but every so often she'd peek out, watch the men fix their bikes, and even smile when one of them revved an engine too loud on purpose. It was strange, almost unsettling, how the hardest men in leather and patches found themselves softening when she was near. But peace never lasted long in Ryder's world. One night, headlights cut across the compound's gate. A truck pulled up, and out spilled men from the rival gang they had tangled with weeks earlier. Tension snapped like a whip. Guns were drawn, curses spat. And then Ryder saw it, one of the rivals holding a small stuffed bear in his hand, the same kind the little girl clutched when he first found her. Looks like you boys picked up something that ain't yours, the rival leader sneered. That kid, she's leverage, hand her over, and maybe we forget what went down at the station. Ryder's blood went cold. His brothers turned to him, waiting. This was the price Reaper had warned him about. By taking the girl, he had brought her into their war. The child's small voice broke through the shouting. Ryder. She had stepped out of the clubhouse, clutching her new sneakers, her eyes wide with fear. Ryder moved before anyone else could, standing tall between her and the men outside. You're not touching her, he growled, his voice carrying a deadly calm. The rival laughed. Big talk, but you can't shield her forever. She don't belong here. She's a weakness. Maybe, Ryder said, reaching back to gently guide the girl behind him. But she's my weakness, and I'll burn the whole world before I let you take her. Gunfire cracked the night. Chaos erupted as both clubs clashed, metal and bullets tearing through the dark. Ryder fought like a man possessed, every swing, every strike fueled not by brotherhood or vengeance, but by something deeper, love, protection, the desperate need to give a child a chance at life. When the dust settled, bodies littered the yard. The rivals had fled, broken and bloodied. Ryder was bleeding, his arm torn from a graze, but the girl was safe. Safe because he had stood his ground. Reaper approached, silent for a long time, then placed a heavy hand on Ryder's shoulder. She's family now, he said quietly, the words carrying more weight than any oath. The girl clung to Ryder's side, her small voice whispering, "You're my angel." And for the first time in his outlaw life, Ryder believed it. He was a Hell's Angel, forged in fire and chaos, but now, he was something more. He was hers.